Who loves you, baby? You're beautiful.
A couple of years, things may change when all the kids grow up and start wearing ties and going to the polls.
You ever have that feeling where you're not sure if you're awake or still dreaming?
Any member of the police department who has allowed himself to get out of condition will either get back into condition or be weeded out.
It's not the constitutionally protected activity that's becoming a crime.
What is
it's
then?
it's the remaining on. It's the defiance of leaving the property.
Okay, I got you. Now you're enforcing that trespass as the basis for charging me when that trespass is based on the same protected behavior.
No, I'm just listening.
That trespass is based on the same protected behavior. So therefore, since their original reason for wanting me out of here is based on that same protected behavior, you cannot therefore criminalize that.
Okay. I know that's how you feel.
I understand that you're saying that's how I feel, but that's no. This is you guys. This is where qualified immunity has emboldened you guys too much, because what you think is that you can just strip somebody of their rights, send them down the road with a citation and a court summons and whatever, and then it's just not on you, right? It's just not on you. It's not your problem. Buddy, you've already acknowledged that this is likely a constitutionally protected activity.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
That's amazing that you're going to go ahead and pursue the ticket after acknowledging that.
Okay, but again,
do you realize that? Do you understand the implications of that?
So you can have.
I don't think he does.
You can have activity A, which is holding your sign, constitutionally protected, First Amendment, sure, while also committing activity B, which is trespass, remain in defiance of the owner.
But when the trespass at a public see, you keep saying remain in defiance of the owner. Problem is you have public property here. This is not the Climb Lawrence. This is not the outhouse. This is not these other places around town that are private businesses. Okay, there is a huge difference that you're missing there, because on public property, we as the citizens, we have an inherent right of access, and the only way that you can remove us from that is if we have violated the criminal code to the effect of removing our own rights of access. Therefore, why you're looking for the disorderly conduct that you were talking about, there had to have been a disturbance last night, right? But there wasn't.
That's how it was described.
It may have been described that way, but I have it all on video. It was a quiet, and I even stood there and asked the guy, if the paper said nothing, if it was just a blank piece of cardboard, would that be a violation? Yeah, it's still protesting. I even asked him, now this is the conversation I had with him. I said, what's the problem with me being here? Well, it's protesting. You can't be protesting here. So I said, so you're telling me that I can't stand here and silently protest something?
Who was this conversation with last night?
One of your staff members in there.
One of my staff?
One of the staff members inside here, okay? One of them told me it was about protesting. So I say, I can't stand here and silently protest? And he says, well, yeah. Well, and so then well, what if I hold up the sign? Is that where the line is? And yeah, that's the line. And mind you, that the piece of paper, the piece of cardboard said, keep the Constitution alive. And that was the line. Now, I went beyond that. I flipped the cardboard over to the blank side, and I said, how about if it's blank? Is that still a problem for you? Oh yeah, that's protest. So I can stand there silently, but that piece of cardboard right there, that's the line. You guys need to understand that is where you're criminalizing First Amendment protected activity by following through with this illegal trespass. Please.
If the library called the police saying that we got somebody trespassing by breaking all rules or whatever, that's one thing. But he didn't break any library rules.
Well, they're claiming that I'm breaking a library rule that says I can't have a sign. But what we have is a problem of conflict. We have all kinds of signs. Right here we have newspapers and other signage. Inside you go in and you see advertisements for other local places and things.
He has the First Amendment right to hold up a sign.
Yes, contrary to what
I think he knows that, but I think they're going to go ahead and...
I didn't make the claim that you broke a rule by holding a sign. I said I'm here to enforce the trespassing code.
But you can't.
You can't.
Okay.
You can't enforce a trespass that's illegal. If somebody calls for somebody, the police will come and say, hey, somebody's trespassing here. We need you to remove them from the property. But the person is not trespassing, then the person calling for you to show up is making a false report.
Okay.
I'll see you
He
later.
says
Good luck with
he
it. I
says
know.
okay, but he's going to ignore what you
Good
said.
luck, I tell you.
It's simply not factual.
It's simply not factual?
It's not.
Okay. Okay.
And instead of having an argument with him about it, I'm not going to change his mind, just like I'm not going to change yours, and that's why you get a court.
No. So yeah, you're going to go issue the citation and send another citizen that's not violating any laws, that's engaged in a constitutionally protected activity.
We're not here to litigate between
You're not
you
here
and the
to.
library.
I know you're not.
All we're here to do is enforce their request to trespass.
No, you're not.
That is.
No, you're not.
that's
This
all we're
is
doing.
not private property. You are not here to enforce their request.
Okay.
This is not private property. That's what you're missing. Do you guys not understand that aspect? You're just telling them to go ahead and go write it, right? Because we got to get out of here, right?
No, I'm not in any hurry. I'll
Yeah,
sit here until
we got to
9
get
o'clock.
out of here.
I'll
So
sit
go
here
ahead and
until
go
9.
write the citation.
It'll do the city no good for you and I just to argue back and forth for 3
Dude, I'm trying to get you guys to understand, but I guess it's a fruitless battle to try to get you to understand.
I wouldn't say it's fruitless. I just think
It's fruitless because you're having him go ahead and write a citation.
I think it's a difference of opinion.
But
I'm
no,
happy
it's
to
not.
hear yours.
Okay, if it's a difference in opinion, then write a fucking report and send it to the prosecutor and don't write a citation.
Okay, that's fine.
You're the only reasonable one here. Go tell them it's something different here. Because this is public property, man. So go ahead and issue your
You don't think I've
citation.
been reasonable with you?
Go ahead and issue your citation. I think you've been reasonable as far as the way you're acting, but I think you're hard-headed when it comes to the Constitution, and I think you guys are doing it on purpose. I think you're doing it on
Like
purpose.
personal against you?
I think you're doing it on purpose.
What do you mean by that?
I think you're doing it on purpose. You can take that however you want it to mean.
I'm happy to have a discussion, but
But you've got to have those things.
if it has been documented that the person in charge of this property says that you're not allowed to be here, and we've documented that on their
For any
behalf,
reason?
for any reason.
For any, not on
So-
public property,
So no
sir.
blacks?
No.
No blacks?
So no blacks, right?
We don't have any prevailing
Answer
issues
that one, Riggs.
that tells us that it's not lawful for them to ban you from the property. So
The First Amendment.
No gays?
you can go have that.
Can they ban
You
gays?
can go- you might prevail, but that's for a
Riggs,
judge to determine.
Riggs, hold on a sec. Riggs, if they said no gays, you'd enforce that?
Well,
You just said they can ban you for any reason.
No, I'm saying that it's not up to us on what their reasonings are. If they have
Right.
rules that they have, that they
And they
So-
say no gays.
So if they say no gays and they want you to trespass a gay guy just
You do.
because he's gay,
If-
are you going to issue him the trespass?
If they would have said, we want you to trespass this guy because he's exercising his First Amendment speech, we wouldn't ban you for that. But
Oh, okay.
they said we want that person banned. I don't know why. They don't want you here. You guys can go to court.